Well, hello there, my clumsy, slouching humans. Welcome to this explainer. I'm your host, and let's just be honest here. As an elegant, inherently superior household feline, I've finally decided to take a little pity on you. I watch you every single day, hunched over your glowing screens, walking around with your shoulders totally slumped, absolutely oblivious to your true physical potential. Honestly, it's exhausting to witness. But today, I'm going to share our secrets. I'm going to teach you the height recovery pyramid. It's an evidence-based masterclass in structural biomechanics and biology that will actually help you stand a little taller. If you pay very close attention, maybe, just maybe, you can achieve a tiny fraction of the majestic grace my kind exhibits naturally.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The absolute biggest myth you humans tell yourselves is that once you hit a certain age, your parents' genes have permanently locked in your final height. Perlice, that is simply a convenient excuse for your terrible lifestyle habits. The truth, backed by actual human science, by the way, is that bad habits are literally robbing you of your true stature. We're talking daily spinal compression, poor posture, terrible sleep, and a total lack of the right nutrients. Those things are keeping you artificially short. You're walking around inches shorter than your biological blueprint intended, simply because you refuse to stretch, sleep, and eat properly.
Listen to this. Up to 40% of your height is completely lifestyle driven. 40%. Ignoring this massive variable is literally costing you 2 or more inches of what your final height could be. You just let gravity and bad habits compress your spine like a cheap accordion. If your growth plates are still open, you're actively stunting your own growth. And hey, even if you're fully grown and those plates are totally closed, your spine is currently compressed purely due to your refusal to decompress it. You are leaving literal inches on the table. And the historical proof of this is absolutely undeniable. Just look at the secular trends in growth. Back in the early 1900s, the average British male was a mere 5'6". But fast forward to the 2000s, that average shot up to 5'10". That is a massive 4-inch national growth spurt. And let me be very clear here. This happened without a single change in their underlying genetics. It was entirely driven by better food, better healthcare, and improved living conditions. The genetic code didn't change one bit, the environment did.
And, this isn't just a British phenomenon either. Take the children of the St. Chiles tribe in Africa. They grew 1.62 centimeters every single decade between 1956 and 1998. And then, get this, the rate actually accelerated, adding another 1.14 centimeters per decade until 2005. That's over 11 centimeters or 4.3 inches of rapid growth that researchers proved could not be explained by genetics. It was nutrition, sleep, posture, and hormones. So I really must scold you. If your growth plates are open, you can absolutely trigger a second growth spurt just by changing your daily actions. And if you're older, don't worry, I'm still going to help you reclaim 2 to 4 inches of that horribly compressed spine. So let's start building the foundation of our height recovery pyramid, and we're going to begin with a true feline specialty. I'm talking about mastering the art of the nap, or as you might call it, the overnight sleep hack. We cats easily spend up to 16 hours a day resting in perfect alignment, allowing our spines to remain supple and elongated. You, on the other hand, you toss and turn yourselves into little pretzels. It is time to fix exactly how you sleep so you can actually decompress overnight.
If you want to stop the relentless, crushing compression of gravity, you need to follow these exact steps the moment you get into bed. First, turn on your side. Second, stick a nice, thick pillow directly between your legs. And third, make sure your hips are perfectly aligned and your spine is completely neutral. I really cannot stress this enough. This specific posture prevents spinal torsion. It stops your spine from twisting and grinding all night long, which allows your spinal discs to pull in water and rehydrate. It's exactly like when I stretch out to my full, glorious length in a warm afternoon sunbeam. Now, if you actually manage to do this consistently for 2 months, you're going to wake up anywhere from half an inch to a full 1.5 inches taller. It's clinically proven. But, and I really must smugly warn you here, this is only the first unlock. If you just roll out of bed and immediately go sit at a desk like a lump for 8 straight hours, you're going to instantly recompress that spine right back down. Your daytime habits will completely ruin your nighttime games if you aren't careful. Which brings us to the second habit. Are you finally ready to stretch like a feline? Because if you're worried about staying short forever, you have to actively fight that daily compression. There's this glorious 2024's clinical study where older adults actually recovered up to 6 centimeters, that's 2.4 inches, instantly with a mere 10-minute stretching protocol. Imagine that. Just 10 minutes to reclaim over 2 inches. So what's the secret? It's this exact 4-part spine reset.
The protocol involves seated hip rotations to wake up your core, chair bridges to elevate and decompress those hips, and seated knee lifts for hip flexion. But the absolute crown jewel of this entire protocol, the seated cat-cow. Yes, you humans literally had to name the ultimate spine curvature reset after feline biomechanics. You inhale as you arch your back and look up, and exhale as you round your spine, bringing your chin to your chest. Look, we have been doing this naturally since the dawn of time, but I am certainly glad human science has finally caught up to the pure genius of the cat-cow. Now, I will generously acknowledge that, unlike me, you humans completely lack the innate muscular discipline to hold this magnificent posture all day long. You stretch, and then like 5 minutes later, you just collapse right back into a slouch at your keyboards. For this tragic weakness, you might actually need some intervention. Things like the Form Science Posture Shirt act as wearable biomechanics. Engineered with patented posture panels, they gently cue your upper back into alignment. It reduces fatigue and acts as a constant daily coach so you don't instantly ruin the height you literally just recovered. And look, when you aren't sitting, you really must fix how you stand. A 2022 study of 53 participants showed an instant 1-inch visible boost in height just by changing their stance. It entirely eliminates that clumsy human flaw known as the anterior pelvic tilt. You just stand with your feet hip-width apart, rotate those heels inward with your toes out about 15 degrees, engage your glutes, push your hips slightly forward, and breathe deep into your ribs. It stacks your spine perfectly over your pelvis, instantly recovering an inch of visible height that your terrible slouching was just stealing right from you. All right, but stretches and stances are really only the foundation. Let's move up the pyramid to the activation layer, nutrition, or as I vastly prefer to call it, eating like a proper carnivore. You can stretch your spine all day long, but if your body lacks the essential nutrients required for cellular growth and bone repair, you're going to fail. Your body needs very specific fuel to actually lock in these height gains. To totally optimize this growth, your body absolutely demands 3 non-negotiable nutrients. We're talking zinc, vitamin A, and protein. Zinc is basically your growth gatekeeper. Your brain's growth hormone cannot even leave the brain to do its job without 11 milligrams of daily zinc. Next up is vitamin A, the growth activator, which literally turns on the genetic code in your cells to build and repair. And just look at the sources: butter, eggs. Oh, it simply makes me purr with approval to see such a heavy, correct emphasis on rich, animal-based products to activate your cells and multiply your bone growth. And that brings us to the growth multiplier, which is protein. Let's think of your bones as a building, okay? Even if you have zinc opening the gates and vitamin A acting as the brilliant architect, protein provides the actual physical bricks. If you don't give your body enough bricks, like eating 4 to 5 eggs daily, you physically cannot add new floors to your building. Without a high-protein, carnivore-leaning diet, your spine simply has nothing to build with. Now we have officially reached the final layer of the height recovery pyramid: optimization, specifically the hormone multiplier. You see, you can have perfect posture and a belly totally full of eggs, but your body's hormones act as a building team. If this team isn't perfectly managed, the entire construction site just shuts down. Let me introduce you to the crew. The builder is growth hormone, which works fastest when you're in deep sleep or fasting. Then you have the boss, testosterone, which demands dominance and rich foods like meat and milk to signal that it's time to grow. And finally, the helper, IGF-1, which takes those brand new cells and brings them directly to your bone. When you sleep enough and eat your meat, the builder, the boss, and the helper coordinate perfectly all night long to stretch your spine and strengthen those bones. But then there is cortisol. Ugh. Cortisol is the ultimate nuisance. Honestly, think of it as a hideous, annoying barking dog next door that keeps the entire building team awake. When you worry too much, or stress out over your silly human emails, or sleep terribly, this noisy neighbor just yells at everyone, and all growth completely stops. You absolutely must silence the barking dog. Take slow breaths before bed, or splash cold water on your face in the morning to keep cortisol quiet so your building team can actually get to work. So there you have it, humans. The exact blueprint to instantly reclaim 2 to 4 inches of lost height, straight from the feline source. Decompress your spine with a pillow, do your cat-cow stretches, stand properly, eat your eggs and butter, and for goodness sake, quiet down that stressful barking dog. The choice is yours now. Are you going to continue to slouch through life, all compressed and pitiful? Or will you fix your posture, eat your protein, silence the noisy neighbor, and maybe, just maybe, one day be almost as majestic as me? Look in the mirror right now. Are you standing at your true height, or are you just letting gravity win?